started today at ready.gov/plan. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right. You got to forgive me here. No, don't forgive me. Because, you know, where else are you going to get an insight like that on the Baseball Hall of Fame voting? It's a pretty good bet. Right now, I think it's a if you are, it's a pretty good bet. Vlad Guerrero, Edgar Martinez, Trevor Hoffman, Chipper Jones, and Jim Thome. That's the they're probably going to be 5. Should Bonds get in? You've got, I mean, it's a tough thing to say. You know, I know that a lot of people, you know, they make the argument for Pete Rose, and they say, okay, bet as a manager, but not as a player, enshrine him as a player. That'd be a legitimate argument. Actually, I think with Rose, when you look at, you know, character being a criteria, that is really, I mean, it's the things that this man has lied about, the, you know, the gambling debts they did incur, and just the amount of friction that he created, it's getting to the point where you say, yeah, those 4,250 odd hits, that's all well and good, but there's the stealing jewelry from your daughter to give to your mistress that, you know, and I know that, you know, there's like, well, you know, not everyone in the Hall of Fame has good character. No, that's being said, okay? I mean, truly. And, you know, a sneering ball player, let's say a selfish ball player, but somebody who has a lot of great stats. Okay, the stats are going to outweigh the sneering. Barry Bonds wasn't necessarily known as the easiest guy in the world to get along with, but if he does make it, 762. Hey, you know, I mean, that outweighs aloofness. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've always felt, you know, that character thing, I felt that's why Rabbit Moranville is in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you, because sports writers of the era years ago, they liked him. He was quite the character. And talking about, I'm the only guy around here that can, or anywhere really, hold a conversation on Rabbit Moranville. Just the name rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? You know, and all the meaningful one. You know, played for the Braves. Yeah, back in Boston. Okay, he was both on the 1914 Miracle World Champion Braves, the first ever World Series team for the Braves, and then he was on the 35 Braves, played with Babe Ruth, and that was the team that was just absolutely awful. I think they only won 36 games all year. They're one of the worst baseball teams of all time. So it was on the high and the low of the franchise back there. But of course, Braves fans, it looks like Chipper's going to make it, and he deserves it, and I think that's fantastic. I'm a Chipper Jones fan. I think that's, I had a chance to interview him a few times. Really like Chipper. Okay, personal sentiment right there, fine. But definitely also worthy as a ball player. And how can you not make the argument that, where would you rank him among all-time third basemen? I don't know if I'd put him ahead of Schmidt and Brett. Is he the all-time third baseman for the Braves franchise? Certainly Atlanta Braves franchise, yeah. I love Bob Horner, but Horner's, you know, a home run every 20 at-bats, and then, you know, we'll go from there. You know, maybe he plays first base even a little bit, you know. I love Bob Horner, don't get me wrong, but Jones is a more complete player. And also, all-time third baseman for the Braves, though, Chipper or Eddie Mathews. I might be inclined to take Eddie Mathews simply because, when we're talking Braves history, he's the only Brave to play in Boston, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. Long time ago. Don't get me wrong. But there's something to that. There's something special about that. 512 home runs? I think that's how many Mathews hit. You tell me. That's more than Chipper had, but, you know. So maybe I might take Eddie Mathews, other great third pie trainer from back in the old days, but 320 lifetime hitter, great defensive player, singles, never struck out. Let's see here. Who else do we need? A great third baseman. And Chipper is going to be there. Brooks Robinson be up there. I've always thought Bill Madlock was very underrated. He's the only player with 4 batting titles that isn't in the Hall. 305 lifetime batting average, and a native Tennessean. He was born in Memphis. Traded for Irwin's own Ed Whitson. There you go. I don't know if people would say, is Bill Madlock, should he be? The 4 batting titles, man. That's tough to argue against. 4 batting titles. That's not a Hall of Fame? You tell me. Hey, I want to tell this. The Bristol Motor Speedway K&N Series race has a 25-lap increase coming up. So the Zombie Auto 150. Now, you know, we get into the sponsorship and all the sponsors run together, but I'll tell you one sponsor that is not going to run together is the Zombie Auto 150 to end with a thrilling 50-lap shootout. This is going to take place on April 14th. A 25-lap increase that was announced today by track and series officials. As part of the lap increase, the Zombie Auto 150 will provide fans with what promises to be a dramatic closing 50-lap shootout to determine the race winner. So they're putting on 25 laps on this. It is part of the Food City 500 weekend. It's the K&N Series race. Amber Balkin has been part of that, which is showcased with the NASCAR Xfinity Series Fitzgerald Glider Glitz 300. Also on April 14th, and the marquee Food City 500 NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series race. That takes place Sunday, April the 15th. What do you think about that? There you go. So that's another bit of local, and 15 more in the shootout. 25 more laps in the shootout. Which, let's see here, that's 12 and a half miles, right? I guess we have to put in the .33. Tri-City Sports Now. We began the show talking a little bit, and there's one about Bill Belichick not being surly, which was a new thing. Until then, they played him being surly. The one thing yesterday that occurred in the sports world that we really need to talk about here, LeBron James, 30,000 points. Let's hear the play-by-play of this. This is basketball history.
To go in the first quarter, the Cavs are on top, 27-25. LeBron James dribbles up near the timeline. He has scored 29,999 points in his NBA career. LeBron James dribbles between his legs, fires a 20-footer. He knocks it down, and there it is. LeBron James has become the youngest ever to 30,000 as the kid from Akron rewrites the history books once again.
John Michael setting up the action. What about that? 29,999. I haven't heard someone set up the action like that since Jack Fleming said right before the Immaculate Reception, hold on to your hats, the Steelers come out of the huddle. Like something was going to happen. Boy, that is big right there. But anyway, LeBron James scoring his 30,000th point. This man has a chance to be the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. He needs 8,000 odd more points to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because the Cavaliers have been struggling lately, but I don't know if that's going to have long-term effects on whether or not LeBron James decides to come back. Might mean that he plays for the Lakers or another team coming out there, but I'm curious here. I would think that he would want to stick around for that record. We'll see. Colin Coward is next. I'm Marky Bilson. See you tomorrow.